It's been a long time. It's been a little bit over a couple, let's see, 3 hours since you've seen me, but it's okay. We're back in full effect, live and direct. As always, it's your boy Zaf. It's Thursday. You know what time it is. It's 7 o'clock on the dot. I'm in my drop top. Okay, no Usher, but analysis paralysis time. You know, I got the handy dandy notebook. So we're about to go in. So today, we're going to be talking about Tokido versus Punk from Wednesday Night Fights. If you guys don't know, this happened about what was it? It was last Wednesday after EVO because of the HyperX event that they had or something like that. I don't know, but yeah. So I guess everybody and their mother was in the area, and you know, Tokido was like, you know what? I'm gonna just swing by before I swing back home to Japan. Decided to stop by. Ended up participating in the tournament, so that's pretty cool of him, you know. And fortunately for us, we have footage, so it's something that we can actually look over. Because if you haven't been living under a rock, last EVO, Punk and Tokido made it to Grand Finals, and that was a really interesting history between them because Tokido had played Punk at Justin Wong's house leading up to EVO 2017, and apparently he 10-0'd Punk or something like that. So Punk going into EVO was like super nervous just because of Tokido. And damn, bro,
you're grateful. I appreciate that.
Blessings, much love to you. 6 months, damn, that is loyal to the soil. So back to this, Tokido stays over Justin's house. They play, so Punk loses to Tokido 10-0 apparently, I don't know. And going into EVO, actually playing winners, and Punk beats Tokido clean 2-0. Still, he's nervous in the back of his head. He's just manifesting this. He's just so focused on it. And look what happens. Tokido makes it to Grand Finals, and he beats him. I think he beat him 3-1, 3-0. He wins EVO. All right, cool. We all know. Since then, Punk tried different strategies. He even tried Kami, and that didn't work out. So in this set right here, he goes back to Karin, and it's a great set. There's a bunch of things in here I think we can all take away from it. Remember, last week we talked about Tokido versus Problem X, so you're going to see a couple of things that transition into this also, so you can tell it's not a matchup thing, but it's a Tokido thing, and just his approach and philosophy in the game. But we're going to get into it right now. Let's talk about Karin, all right? So Karin is a Footsies character. If we were to put her into an archetype, we would say she's a Footsies character. So the thing about Footsies characters are that they usually hover around like their longest poke, and they just dance in and out of that range, and their whole just focus is to either build a wall through their normals or to create some sort of knockdown, you know, based off of over commitment from their opponent. So if they, you know, walk into a range of their opponent's poke but quickly back out and their opponent overextends, leads to a knockdown. Karin gets a knockdown. Boom. Right? So Karin's a Footsies character. Chun-Li is capable of this. Who else is capable of this? Kami is capable of this, even though she's more of like a dive kick rush down character. She still has a Footsies like component to her neutral, so she can play that type of style. That's why you see a lot of Fei Long players play her, like me included. So Karin, she can be a wall, right? But her focus though is to be a wall, to create these normals, these like this labyrinth of normals. She uses her buttons like a projectile. That's what Footsies archetypes do. They use their buttons like projectiles, but think of it like a projectile that it just faint. It only goes a certain distance. It's not like Ryu's where it goes full screen, right? So what's going on, Hot Stepper? Thank you for tuning in, brother, as always. So she's gonna leverage the strength of her normals to occupy, you know, the opponent's focus, right? She's trying to lure your attention away from whatever your strategy is into countering her, because her Footsies are relatively challenging to manage with, right? Unless you have like a birdie, somebody who can outpoke her, because then she has to focus on you to a degree, right? But for the characters like Akuma, who has a really stubby set of normals, he's kind of forced to deal with her buttons first and foremost. He has to create some sort of hesitation so that he can get that extra step and walk in and press his buttons, because he can't attack from as far as she can, but she can attack from a lot further, and she gets much easier conversions from further away, because she can do, you know, some low forward into Tenko, into, you know, knockdown, and then she can dash in and close the ground. Akuma, he from far away, the furthest knockdown he gets that's consistent is stand fierce, and you still have to hit confirm that, you know, and that's really risky in and of itself. Whereas Karin, she can low forward, but then she can cancel into shoulder if it doesn't hit, you know, stuff like that. And she just has a much easier time hit confirming off of stray attacks than Akuma does, because Akuma, he could go into Tatsu, but then it could be out of range, and just all these strange little relationships between the spacing between him and his opponent, the active frames, yada yada yada. So Karin's gonna want to just lure Akuma's focus, anybody's focus, to her buttons, but then that allows her to walk up because she has great walk speed. That's one of her pros. Her walk speed is phenomenal. I think it's like top 5 in the game, I would say. Is amazing walk speed. She has great walk back speed too. So what's important about walk speed is that if you have great walk forward speed, that means you can engage a lot easier, right? So if I have a faster walk forward speed than you do, that means I can get to my range quicker than you can, right? And if I also have a faster back walk speed than you have a faster walk forward speed, that means it's easier for me to walk in and out of range, and you have a hard time dealing with that. It's gonna be harder for my opponent to pinpoint a spacing because my mobility is just so much superior than theirs. So I'm moving in and out, in and out, in and out, in and out, right? And then they're struggling just to get to one particular range where they excel at, right? So Karin has the walk speed and she has the buttons. So that's really difficult for Akuma to deal with, right? So you're going to see how Tokido's going to try to deal with that and manage and challenge that, so that it forces Karin into playing away from her strengths, so that way he can start his strengths. Because that's what happens when somebody has an advantage. You want to take away their advantage so that you can establish your advantage. Otherwise, how am I gonna put my advantage down? How am I gonna exercise my advantage if you're at advantage? That doesn't make sense. Advantage means somebody is at a superior position, right, in relation to what they're trying to accomplish. So right off rip, you can say that Karin, if she gets into that stand medium kick range, she's automatically winning the matchup because she dominates Akuma at that range. So Akuma has to start taking a lot of risk. You're gonna see how how Tokido rather manages that with his character. So it's gonna be a really interesting dynamic. I think you guys are gonna really enjoy this set. Like you guys have always enjoyed my analysis, right? You know what I'm saying? But yeah, so let's go into her cons. As a character, she has very low health and stun, all right? But it's made up for the fact that she gets great conversions. So because if all it takes is for her to hit you once to then go into a knockdown and then get media pressure, that's the shortcoming of the character, is on her vitality and her stun. So if you hit her, it hurts a lot. 900 health, 900 stun, that can really hurt. Swolder boy, what's going on, brother? Thank you for tuning in as always. Much love to you, right? And then her anti-air normals require an extreme amount of precision and awareness, because her stand fierce, you know, this one, it's only active for her anti-air for 1 frame, which is kind of nuts if you think about it, because if she's off by 1 frame, mind you, that button is 8 frames to start up, right? So that means if you are a frame too slow or too fast, that button could whiff potentially, or, you know, get counter hit, whatever, on a jump in. But she has to be really precise with it. So in terms of precision, she has to be aware of her spacing, so her relation to the opponent's position, and she has to be aware of how they're jumping in, when they're jumping in. Like, she has to be super alert of these things. So it can kind of take away from her ground game if somebody's mixing in like a jump in approach really well and seamlessly with their ground approach, because it spreads the focus very thin and between, you know, multiple baskets. You know, they say you don't want to put your egg in too many baskets, right? You want to focus them in certain amounts of baskets. You know, but imagine if Karin has to focus on a dash, on a jump, on fireballs, on buttons. Like, it's going to be very difficult for her to mentally juggle all those things at once. Make sense? That makes sense? I think it makes sense. Okay. Cool. So fast walk speed, she has great reach on her normals, very fast normals. She has access to a 3-frame jab, so that's very important for defense. Okay. She also has amazing pressure. Her pressure is insane. It can suffocate even the best players. She has access to an EXDP, which is super important. Casablanca, what's going on? Thank you for coming in. I appreciate you. I appreciate your trolls. I appreciate your nose. What's going on, man? So that is it for Karin. Okay, so conversions, her pressure, access to a DP. I think that's pretty good indicator of a character's design in terms of consistency. I think that's pretty godlike to have access to that stuff. Let's talk about Akuma, right? So Akuma, his goal is, we talked about it, so I don't have to go too deep with it, but I'll kind of refresh it. But he wants to leverage his mobility because, you know, he has the access to the trajectory altering moves that he has in the air. and he has access to mobility and zoning, which is, you know, that's kind of rare for most characters. You don't really see that. You usually see like a zoner is very grounded, right? You don't see zoners that are mobile, but that's what makes Akuma Akuma. He's just like a demon powered up version of Ryu with lower health, right? So that's the trade-off. So he has the mobility and the zoning, and he's going to leverage that to create an opportunity to cause a knockdown. So, you know, if he is using his mobility to cause a knockdown, it would be in a sense where he uses his mobility to cause somebody to whiff an anti-air, or, you know, miss pace or mistime their anti-air move, or to just land blocks. Done. Now they're in a 50-50. Now he's engaged on them, right? So he has that option. In terms of zoning, if he can convince an opponent to jump, he gets the DP, and now he gets a dash in for pressure. You know, so that's how that works. Or if he gets a knockdown off a fireball, because his fireball knocks down, which is unique to Street Fighter V. For him, he didn't have that in 4 with regular fireballs. So his regular fireball knocks down, so then he can get dash up pressure after that, right? So he's gonna want to just focus and just zone in on getting knocked down, and then just taking advantage of it, because then he's winning. He's winning no matter how much health you have at that point, okay? Because that's all it takes. And this is outside of V trigger, remind you. So when he gets V trigger activated, it's like, oh geez, you know, just throw all my papers in the air. Why don't you, right? So. And that's where he's going to shine with his mix-up potential, of course, when he has access to that V-trigger. All right, guys, so let's get into it. So we are going to start this. All right, let me just put this up right now. Boom, boom, ba 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 boop, ba 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 ba. Bang. All right, cool. So let's get into it. All right, so we're going to start right here. So match 1. Round 1. You guys know me. Anytime I'm doing analysis, we always talk about the opening gambits, all right? Because the opening gambits, that stuff's very important, and it can make the difference between you doing something at the start of the match and getting knocked down for it, and then you look silly because now your opponent's about to just storm right through you for the rest of the round, all right? So let's watch what Tokido does. We talked about this before, how he likes to establish fireball in the beginning of a round, but how he does it is he usually shimmies around like zone 3-ish, right? He shimmies around that range, and then he's just looking for some sort of commitment. Like, he wants you to convince him in a conversation between how you're moving characters that, hey, you can trust me, I'm gonna stay on the ground, all right? That's what Tokido's looking for, and you're gonna see that right now. All right, so let's watch the opening. Right, so you see how he's kind of dancing at that zone 3. He's still maintaining, he's establishing it, right? That's where he excels in terms of zoning, but it's also just so happens to be the range where Karin stand roundhouse would whiff, right? That's her longest poke. All right, so now he's convinced. So you see this walk up jab, that's going to be how he's going to deal with the Cobra style that Punk has sometimes, where Cobra meaning, like, you know, if there was a Cobra right next to me, right, just chilling, and I walked up to the Cobra and I was like, hey, what's up? That shit would just snap at me. I'll be like, ah, right? Like, oh, whoa. Okay, so that's kind of a style that Punk exhibits at times in moments where if somebody walks up on him, he just preemptively presses the button. That's what a defensive-minded player does, right? So depending on what his mindset is at the moment, that's what he'll do, because he wants the knockdown. So he sees you walking up or whatever, he might press roundhouse if he's walking backwards, or he might press stand medium kick. So that's why you see Tokido, he does the walk up jab, is to try to preemptively counter his poke. You see, the stand jab is 3 frames, so that's the fastest button in the game that you can have, right? Not the fastest move, but the fastest button. There's no button faster than 3 frames in this game. So you see, he walks up and he does that, right? So if it does counter hit, he gets that low forward into fireball. So it's not a bad trade-off. Right there, though, you see how he commits to that red fireball. So that right there was to counter a very Punk-specific thing, where Punk will lash out sometimes with stand roundhouse, as you can see right there, because he knows that smart zoning players, they will get into the habit of fireballing back to back, right? But you see, when he does red fireball, it doesn't extend his hurt box right away. It does on the active frames, but you see how the timing changed. If he does a regular fireball, he would have got crush countered. But because he does the red fireball, it charges it up and it delays it, and then he extends past, you know. But by that point, he's just basically whiff punishing Punk for this. All right. All right. So now this is a very subtle moment that just happened. I don't know if you guys seen that, but this is going to be the main theme of the Footsies battle between these two. Okay, this is gonna set up a lot of end game scenarios, KO moments, V trigger activations. Okay, so I really want you guys to pay attention to this. All right, so you see this crouch strong. All right, that wasn't max range, but you see this. You see how Punk just stood up? Right there is a very subtle occurrence in that match. But it happens so fast though. Like, let's just watch it, right? That after that crouching strong, like, you have to be so alert to see him stand up like that. Otherwise, you would have just missed that. But that's very, very crucial information, because that's telling you somewhere during this string he's trying to move. So why did he try to move? What was going on there? You know what I'm saying? Because if he's in a defensive mindset, he would have just crouch blocked, right? He would have been crouching. But why did Karin stand up? Why would he do that? So that right there, if Tokido sees that, he can ask himself, why did he just stand up? I don't know if he saw it. That's something we'd have to ask him. But I'm just saying, based off of my analysis, that is a crucial moment, because if in the end game Karin has access to V-Trigger, if you miss space something because of that situation occurring, that's potentially V-Trigger activation that you're granting a player like Punk. All right, so let's look at this situation. All right, he's trying to see where he can fireball. See, okay, and now look how subtle this was. So after that backdash, he starts walking back. That means that Punk's starting to look for fireball. Okay, because the backdash creates zone 3, which we talked about is the fireball range, right? But you see how he walks up and he crouched? He walked up and crouched. Doesn't really do anything, but then he starts walking backwards because he knows that Tokido is in that fireball mindset at that range, because he wants to counter poke with fireballs and stop movement. Okay, so that's why he starts walking backwards. See? And then when he's convinced he doesn't want to fireball, he moves forward, right? And look, he gets hit. So remember what we talked about with focus, right? You're looking for one particular thing. So this is to show you how fast Punk adapts, but how it can be used against him, is that he became tunnel visioned on the fact that, oh, he doesn't want to fireball anymore. So he walked up and did stand medium kick. If he was not looking for that, like specifically, if he was not that determined, he would have saw the startup of fireball, right? See, because he was convinced right here. This is why he starts moving forward. And then he tries to go press stand medium kick, which is why you see the startup of her medium kick right there. So he was convinced. And that's good awareness of Tokido to watch the body language and see that Punk started shifting forward. And that probably told Tokido, like, oh, you know, usually he plays like a Cobra. So if he's moving forward, he's probably going to be offensive right now. So let me fireball right now. Okay. But of course, there's risk behind that, because he can move forward and jump, which you're going to see a little bit down the line. Okay. So this is 72 seconds in that we're in right now. So that's the shift of the fireball. And there are no more notes for the rest of the round. Okay. So this is pretty good. So he does the stand strong there. I'm freestyling this because I just realized this. But because the previous instance right here, you saw how he walked, crouched, walk, crouch. He is thinking from Tokido's perspective after seeing that one time, that he's anticipating Tokido's thinking, oh, Punk's gonna do that walk up thing again. So that's why after this, he walks up and just does this right away. And he hits them. See? So that was really good on his part. Why hasn't he jumped yet? So when you get to high level play, it's more so like that one jump. Think of it like this. You know that if you jump in, you get a lot of damage, right? But when you're a top level player, you also know that if you miscalculate that jump, that's now a health lead in your opponent's advantage. And when they have the lead, then that means they have the option of doing less, right? So that's something you have to take into account. My opponent can do a lot less than me and still win this. So do I really want to jump, or do I want to set up the jump where I'm convinced 95% that he's going to fireball? You know, I'd rather jump when I'm 95% sure than when I'm 20% sure I'm just guessing, because it'll just pay off if I'm more certain, especially when you think about it, you're building up more damage on the ground over time by doing that, right? All right, so round 2 gambit. what happens? So let's see. Round 2 gambit. So he starts it off with fireball, and the reason why is because we've seen that from round 1 where Tokido was kind of shimmying in place and then nothing happened. So he was convinced, like, oh, okay, Punk, you're gonna stay grounded. Hence why he fireballed right here. Okay. And you're gonna see the evolution of the opening gambits throughout the set. It turns into like this really cool narrative between both players, all right, psychologically speaking. So this right here is a really good element to comprehend. Sometimes if you're not aware of what's happening, just block. Sometimes your opponent will just hang themselves. Even the best players, you see this? He was so convinced that Punk was gonna press something that he just kind of threw off his hit confirm. And that's not the first and last time. That's the first time it happens in the set, but not the last time either. And he tried to jab right there. So you see like Tokido's gonna attack into ranges a lot because like you see where Karin's standing. She's standing like right here, right? You're gonna see him attacking like this empty range because this is to thwart him from trying to move forward because Punk is very aggressive. So that's why he does a lot of the quick recovering, fast startup normals to just clip him potentially trying to close distance, and then he'll buffer it into something. That was good. All right, next round. All right, so round 3. So watch this. Starts the match with backdash. What does that tell you guys? I want to see what you guys say. We just talked about this moment where he backdashed, and look at the range. All right. So what do you think that means? I just want to see what you guys think. I want you guys to exercise your mind. What do you guys think that this means? Right, he's looking for a fireball. Exactly. Exactly. Right. Right, you guys got it. You see? So, Turtle, thank you for tuning in, by the way. Appreciate it, as always. But yeah, he's looking for fireball. He's looking for fireball. You guys are getting it. So you see that movement, how he does that? I'm not making this up. You guys can see it now. Right? He's looking for fireball because look at his meter. 3 bars. He just needs that one hit into EX Tenko, into a EX shoulder, and that's corner carry. So he's willing to do that. He's willing to sacrifice the positioning for a potentially large gain because he knows that the opening gambit, Tokido involves fireball a lot. He does a lot. That's Tokido's thing, right? So that's something to be mindful of. So that's why he moves back. He gives up this space immediately, okay? So I'm glad you guys are seeing this. All right, so then he shifts back into Footsies. He's still convinced. He's still trying to look for it because he's like, damn, Tokido, you still haven't thrown it. All right, whatever. You know what? I'm over it. Oh, there you go. And he gives it to him, but he wasn't prepared for it. All right. So that neutral jump, when he does that neutral jump, it's possible that he does this because he doesn't want to block. He wants to convince him, right, that he's not going to try to potentially anti-fireball. But naturally, you see a red fireball like that, it is good to neutral jump, all right? But I'm pretty sure Punk is still in that mindset because he moved back. See how he moved back? He didn't anti or nothing. He's still probably looking for fireball in that range. Watch this. See? Just like we talked about. Sometimes just block. Block. And it's a very similar situation. He was like about 200 points of stun away from getting stunned, right? And he still just blocked, and it was the same situation. He just blocks, and Tokido just hangs himself with the low forward. Good shimmy. Optimal punishes. I expect nothing less from Punk. All right, so look at that opening gambit. Look at that shit. Isn't that funny? Immediately, they both shimmy in place, and that's how you can tell they're both in rhythm. All right, so you see this conversation that's happening between both players. Look at that. That's so subtle, but you guys would probably miss that if you didn't take the time to just observe and ask questions like, why are they doing that? And then you watch the follow-up action. See? I'm gonna go back. if YouTube was working properly and I could do my frame by frame. This would be nice, but it's not. So they literally both perform the action at the same time. So they're in tune with each other. Their rhythm is like, they're just like, all right. So, but that's why Punk jumps, because he understands, like, because the previous instance where they delayed, he's like, all right, I think you're fireballing. I don't care if he just sees fireball. Maybe Punk doesn't see the rhythm aspect, but Tokido definitely fireballed right there because he saw him shimmy. So he's like, oh, okay, you're being on the ground again. Let me fireball. That's a really good tactic right there. So after the throw tech, after the tick throw, you see Punk just down backs. And this is really good because if he jumps, he can jump back air to air. If he backdash is like 22 frames. Okay, so this is actually really easy to react to. So what you would do is you look for backdash, and then if you see jump, you just jump back. That's the second thing you react to. Okay, so he sees him backdash, and then he just punishes the recovery with that. All right, that was good. So another key moment, I want you guys to pay attention to this. So this is what we will call the -2. What did I nickname it? What did I call it? What did I call this? I call this the -2 gambit. Okay, that low forward's not -2, but the point is, in any -2 situation that the offensive opponent puts himself in the in that moment, they're going to, like, the top players, they do that problem X thing where they walk back to make you whiff. Okay, and this is what you're gonna see right here. I want you guys to pay attention to this really quick. Okay, so rewind it. You see that? And he walks back, and he could have got the whiff punish, but he didn't get it there. But that was the reason why he did that, was specifically for that. It was specifically so that he could whiff punish it. He doesn't do it there, but that was the intention behind it. It's to max space your negative normal, because then what happens is there's now a larger gap between your opponent and you, so they can't immediately just press the button. Because if they press a button and you block it, the follow-up button is gonna whiff, depending on what it is, right? But if they were like inside a throw range and block the -2 button, then it's a real 50-50, right? Where they could throw you, they can press a button and then follow-up button. But because they do it at the max distance, the distance between you and your opponent is greater, as is, and then you factor in pushback, and then the fact that by the time their next button hits, let's say I'm -2, right? I can't move for 2 frames, but you do a 6-frame button. Because I'm -2 and you do a 6-frame button, there's a 4-frame window that I can move after that -2 situation. Well, it's gonna be technically 3 because on the 6th frame I block. But for 3 frames, I can hold back and I can actually move my character for 3 frames. Right? So for 3 frames I can move away because your active frames didn't activate. They didn't trigger my proximity block, so I can still move back. All right? So that's how this is working. So you're gonna see this is a very common thing that's gonna happen a lot. Neutral jump again. See? And it happens immediately right after. We just talked about it. See? Look at that. Low forward, walk back. See how Tokido tries to walk up? And then he gets that. And he kills him. So, very, very dope. Alright. Starting Gambit. So Punk knows that jump in from the previous round kind of has Tokido shook. So he's going to take advantage of this and walk up. And he gets this fierce into shoulder. Look at the pushback. See how far that is? That's so good. Like, that's so good. Even if Tokido throws him, he doesn't mind because he just ends up right back in the same situation at the same spacing. Granted, he loses 130 health, whatever. But he doesn't mind that for the potential reward. All right. So he does a stand light kick, but it's like whatever. I don't care. Look how much closer we are to the corner just because of this. Now they're both kind of attacking ranges into the range, not really attacking each other. All right, you see Tokido just trying to use it against him also, right? So watch this. Low forward, walks back. See? So he was trying to whiff punish something potentially. And he walks back after that low forward. So you can use it. You can use it offensively, like if I put myself at negative situation, or if my opponent puts me on a negative situation because they're plus. So it's the same principle. So if Tokido does something and Tokido's plus, I can use it against him the same way. Or if Tokido's negative, I can use it against him the same way. The point is that in that gambit, you can apply that as long as you're at that max distance poke range. That's like a really strong element in this game, especially because normals are so much stubbier. Another thing about Punk too is that he gets really active with stand roundhouse when he gets V-trigger. All right. So he's doing jump light kick. So he does jump light kick because of that weakness of the stand fierce we talked about, where it's only one frame anti-air properties, like because it's only one frame. Like the remaining active frames are all grounded on stand fierce. So for one frame, that 8th frame where it starts up, that's the only frame that anti-airs, like consistently. So that's why Tokido does the jump light kick, because it's enough to potentially throw off the active frame and just slip by it. And jump light kick is way more active. So if it causes fierce to whiff by a frame and it's still active, it can still potentially hit him, you know? All right. Start of the match. Let's go back to start of the match. So this is match 2, round 3. All right, match 2, round 3. All right, so immediate fireball, and you see Punk, he backdashed right after that, because I don't think he was expecting that. So he's like, oh, okay, you're in fireball range. All right, you're in fireball mindset. So he tries to backdash, and then in case he does throw a fireball, he would have enough time to do the EX Sapo into Tenko. Sapo is the command dash, and then Tenko's the launch. All right. So a lot of these backdashes are him putting himself at a range where he can react to a fireball follow-up. That's why he's getting hit and he's willing to just backdash. And that was Tokido attacking into range, that retaliation. That's how you stop this button, especially this. You see? That's why he was able to anti-air that, because of what I just said. He was already looking for fireball, so in his head he was already visualizing himself doing EX dash. So that's why he was able to punish this. There's no reason for him to try to okay, so let me prove a point. If he knows that Tokido is gonna do command flip, why would he backdash? Why not just sit there and anti-air with DP or air to air? Because he wasn't looking for that. He was looking for fireball when he backdashed. You see what I'm saying? So he's looking for fireball. That's why he's backdashing, and that's why he's in the mindset of doing EX dash. See, so right there, a common situation that happens a lot is when an opponent is cornered and that opponent that is cornered is down on life. If they can somehow close the gap, they will almost always back throw in that close range engagement, because they want to put you in the corner. So Punk took it the previous round, but this time he's like, okay, this exploitation of that risk reward philosophy, I'm not buying this. I'm gonna tech this time. That's why he teched that throw right there, because he knew he wanted him in the corner so that Tokido can just get started. All right, so right here it's super subtle. I never really thought of this. This could have been completely accidental by Punk, but it is such a strong tactic now that I think about it. Is when somebody dashes, you expect them to dash and they're immediately in a throw range, or they're immediately inside of like a low forward range, right? Especially if they're not like full screen. If they're full screen, it's obvious, but I mean like any closer than that, it's like you just anticipate that they're in a range where, you know, I can start my pressure up. So you see how he just kind of backdashed, right? And he dashed forward. Tokido was already gonna move up, so when he sees him close the gap really quick, he sees dash, and it throws off his calculations of spacing. And he's like, oh, okay, jab, right? And then he immediately goes for low forward low. But you see, Punk doesn't walk back here because Punk does. I don't think he thinks this is gonna happen. But he was just prepared anyways. He's like, oh, okay, word. Punk has those type of reactions where he's just not looking for something, but then you give it to him, and it's like, oh, okay, cool. See? So that stand light punch, Tokido didn't walk up afterwards because he was sure that his spacing was on point, but because of the pushback from the stand jab, coinciding with the dash distance where Karin originally dashed from, that's why this whiffed. Okay? All right, so you see Punk jumped again. He jumped again. So because of the previous round, you see how they're like continuing that dance in the opening game. So that's why Tokido, again, he just doesn't. Anytime Tokido got some sort of successful action in the opening game, he would delay the following round because he's like, I think you're gonna try to respond because, you know, maybe you think this is a good opportunity for you to get a massive amount of damage. Okay. That's good. He's building maximum amount of meter and cornering his opponent. Oh, that was really good. See, right there, he was willing to take it. Punk was willing to take it because what happened the last time he activated in the corner, guys? Last time he activated in the corner and he got a dash up or whatever it was on block the last time. He tried to back throw him in the corner, right? The first time, this was round 2 of match 1, and then the next time, which was match 2, round 3, I believe, or round 2, he tried to throw him again, but Punk teched it. But this time, Punk didn't press anything. He didn't press anything twice, right? The second time right there he did, but yeah, the first time he's like, nope, nah, I'm not getting back thrown, or I'm not gonna get shimmied because I know you saw me tech the last time this happened. Uh-oh, so he's back in that fireball mode because he has meter. So you can make that connection between his bar and his intention, what he's looking for, because he starts to backdash a lot more when he gets access to meter at the start of the match. You don't see him backdashing when he doesn't have bar, right? So he whiffed that crouching strong to make it look like he was gonna dash underneath. Good side switch. DP. The DP exchange. Eye for an eye. That was a really, really good anti-air. Alright, so you see they both kind of wait. Especially because of that DP anti-air the previous round. So Tokido, he just wants to see like, alright, where are you mentally after I anti-aired you at the start of the match? You know, because they treat each other like a new player every round, to a degree. Nice. See, he gets more active with that roundhouse once he gets it. Granted, he did do it in the previous situation after the block low forward, but that's like his thing. That's like what sets his offense up. Nice. Alright, so this is match 4. You see that jab again? He's just attacking into that range. That's a punish, but Tokido messed up. That was a stand jab punish. It's -4. So he canceled into that V skill because he knew that once he did the V skill part right there, and then he's like, all right, let me try to turn this into a frame trap in case he tries to punish me. And Punk doesn't bite. That was a good backdash. That's a meaty throw setup. Frame kill with stand light kick. That was good. That was really good. So the reason why this works is because Karin's EXDP is only invincible for the first 5 frames. Or something like that. Something like it's very short in comparison to the other EXDPs in the game. So that's why Tokido does this from really far up and it clips her like that. So like Cammy can do the same thing. Like when I play against Karen's, I'll jump and I'll dive kick at the very top of my jump. And then they'll just see it and they'll just EXDP. And then they run out of the invincibility frames by the time they're about to like touch me, and then my hitbox is superior to their hurtbox hitbox, so then I just hit them before they hit me, basically. That's why that works. It's much stronger for Akuma because his fireball is completely separate from his body. But yeah. So this is a unique situation for Tokido where they're now in close proximity. He's kind of like, wait, what? That's just enough to throw him off of his focus, and then Punk gets the counter hit. See? Because it was just such a weird situation. This entire set, what's been happening was this back and forth dance between I fireball, I don't fireball, I walk up and jab. Like none of this, like we both walk up and we're in throw range. That has not happened yet. And usually when Tokido gets confused, he gets like steamrolled. So this doesn't surprise me here. Perfect. All right. See, so now we go back to that jab game. So the jabs are not the real focus. It's just to stop Karin from doing that walk up, you know, that we talked about. Just to thwart her from using the things that she's superior at. So that way Akuma can have a better chance of getting his game plan started. That's a really good string. Low forward into stand roundhouse. Because of that pushback, like when that situation happens for Karin, this low forward into roundhouse, it becomes that -2 gambit we talked about where Karin can just walk back and then I try to retaliate and my button whiffs, right? Or if I don't do anything, then she's getting great damage on me because of roundhouse. So it's just like a really risky mind game. Like, do I commit right away and try to counter the roundhouse that I think is coming? Or do I wait? You know, because he can't just fireball here because he'll get counter hit also. So it's like, nice. See, that's the risk in his arsenal in terms of his hit confirms. That can happen really often. It's just all a spacing thing. Sometimes it's not a bad idea to actually get hit on purpose because it can mess up somebody's hit confirm where they visually react a certain way all the time, and then you've convinced them, oh, I hit, so let me cancel, and they completely forgot about the spacing involved. And then that can happen. Fast forward. All right, so now this is a reset. Okay. Hope you guys are enjoying this so far. Go back to that opening gambit. Tokido's not throwing fireballs. He's still trying to feel him out. It's a completely new set. All right. Throws it one time and he jumps. The one time he throws it, he's convinced. Okay. Well, yeah, I guess he does it. So he does it on the recovery frames of his roundhouse, though. And he doesn't have enough time to get in on it. That was an awesome punish. See, that was a great punish too, because now he got the side switch. Look at that. So instead of him doing a combo that puts him back mid-screen, he does the fierce and he gets the side switch, puts him back in the screen, and he still has his advantage. He's still winning at what he's winning at, you know, in terms of that spacing. Health-wise, he's not winning, but he has the positioning, you know, and he's at that effective range where Karin can win. Backdash looking for fireball because you see he has a bar. He does the roundhouse. As soon as he gets that V trigger, he's willing to do it. So that's why it's really important. Like if you're playing a player like Punk, when he has V trigger, you have to be able to box him in and neutralize his roundhouse. If you can neutralize his roundhouse, it's a lot easier to beat him. But that button, obviously, it's easier said than done. But that's how he gets all of his offense started. If he's down on health. So that's why he does the jump light kick. We talked about it to counter the stand fierce anti-air. So you see that -2, the gambit again, but this time with fireball. So you can do it with specials too. You see he walks back. He walked back after the fireball. I'll do it again just so you guys can see it again. All right. You see he does fireball. And you see him walk back. Uh-oh. He's trying to convince him to throw fireball. And he gives it to him, but he gave him the EX. So he's probably not anticipating the EX. EX is faster, and the glow can throw you off. The glow can definitely throw you off. See, you got counter hit. So why did he get counter hit? You know why he got counter hit? Did you guys notice? I want to see if you guys noticed. I'm not even going to say anything. Why did he get counter hit, guys? I'm going to ask my chat right now. Let me put the chat on the screen again. Why did he get counter hit? Did you guys notice anything that just happened on the screen? There was a visual cue as to what just happened, but I don't know if you guys seen it. Remember what we talked about when he backdashes and what he's looking for? You saw he did the backdash? Look at his bar. What happened to his bar? Why did his bar disappear? Why did he get counter hit? See what I'm saying? You gotta notice these things. He got counter hit on the startup frames of his EX dash. Because it's only projectile and invincible on the 3rd frame. It's not like Cammy's where it's invul frame 1. Alright? But you see how subtle that is? Like, if you don't notice that, that's information that can be used against you. But you see the EX, it's a difference in timing. He's breaking his timing, his rhythm. Punk is right. He did throw fireball, but the rhythm was off. Primarily because of EX. The EX can make you flinch. You're like, oh shit, and then you still get counter hit. See? Look at that. And he tried a V skill in anticipation of a follow-up fireball. Because that's a very common zoning thing to do is EX fireball. Because it's a very good fireball trap. It's a great fireball trap, you know. But that's why Tokido jumps. Tokido's probably aware of that. He's aware of the V skill as a counter to a fireball, right? Especially in that situation. He tried to instant overhead, didn't work out there. Good corner carry. That crouching, that means he's looking for something. You see, he's looking for something. We talked about crouching means looking. That is information right there. He's trying to get information. He's trying to get something specific. All right. But if we look at his bar, what did we say about bar? Bar tells the story. He has super. He has V trigger activated. So we know he wants low forward into V trigger. See? This is the type of stuff I just love seeing stuff like this because it feels so great to be aware of things like this because it just shows growth as a player. You know, that's why I love teaching this stuff to you guys because it makes me so much stronger. Watch when my Sagai is gonna be blowing people away. People be like, how did he do this? Fireball. Back to that fireball mind game. Okay. Nice, he was prepared this time. That was good. See, so that was really good because it makes sense in this situation because Karin is towards the corner. So it's very unlikely that Punk would do shoulder in this situation because Punk wants to corner Akuma. It's just a matter of switching sides. So that presence of mind that Tokido has is so amazing, and I admire it because you see that he's just prepared for that. He knows he could have got counter hit with shoulder, but he at the same time he's like, I know you want to side switch, I know you want to cancel this and then throw me because you haven't done it yet. It's just the potential situation that he waits for that calls for it, right? Okay. What's up, Theo? All right, what is the opening gambit? Let's see. Ah, the shimmy. Yeah, see? And it's like the same rhythm too. So it's like you don't always have to be different every round. Just you just have a set structured game plan, and then you branch off from that. See, look at that. That was really good. But that dive kick was to do what we talked about earlier against her EX DP, where it's just to hit later. That's literally it. All right. Fireball range. So he takes that little break in his offense. Even though he got the throw, he doesn't close the gap because he's like, I can use this as an opportunity to EX through a fireball potentially. You see? And he gets counter hit because he's convinced there's like a window. Punk has this window. It's like a imaginary time frame, right? Where he's committed to something, and then when he gets the confirmation as it dwindles down, he's like, okay, next thing. See? And Tokido's aware of his rhythm. That's why he's just like, I am going to fireball now. See? And he gets hit. Right. And this is Tokido just this is Tokido just saying, okay, you know, I'm gonna just continue my zoning. Maybe he's just flustered or something, you know. But Punk, again, presence of mind, he's like, okay, let me backdash because I lose nothing backdashing here, and I can still react in time. So you see how he gets all of that? So that confirms everything we talked about after the backdash. So you guys see how I'm not making things up? I was saying how he was backdashing and he was buffering the EX dash, but that one time that Tokido did the command flip, he already had the dash in his head, so he committed to that as an anti-air. But for the most part, it was to counter fireball, nothing else. So Tokido does a neutral jump fierce right here because he's trying to counter Punk potentially anticipating jump EX fireball, not EX, V trigger fireball. Because I don't know if you remember at EVO when they played in the winner set when Punk beat him, he did neutral jump V trigger fireball and Punk EX through it and he punished it. But then when they met in Grand Finals, Tokido did this exact same thing where he neutral jumped and he just did fierce and Punk EX dashed into it. See? It's a really good set. What's up, Ether? So this time he doesn't cancel into it. Max damage. All right, so now it's the waiting game. What are we looking for? Punk doesn't really need to get active with buttons, like laggy buttons, because he's not close to V-trigger, so crush countering is unnecessary, and he has a great life lead. It's just a matter of Tokido overcommitting and putting himself in a really bad position. So Tokido's trying to get damage. So he's trying to make something happen, right? So you see how he's kind of attacking into a range with his fierces? It's because he's trying to anticipate a dash. So he's trying to potentially punish Punk over extending himself. And he's trying to throw off his reactions by doing buttons that look similar to Fireball on startup, where his hand extends like that. You know, so by him doing something that looks like this, it can potentially throw off Punk. if Punk is like super eager to end the match, which he isn't. He just closes it off with solid play. He double backdash. Look how much ground he gave up though. But he gets a side switch. That's why it's very dangerous against Akuma to corner him and stay close to him, because he can just hit you and convert that into a side switch. That's why Problem X, he said in his interview with Logan that he maintained a certain distance because not only did it give Bison the best options in terms of like, you know, anti-airing, whiff punishing and stuff like that, and he can outrange him, but because if Akuma hits him from that range, like where you see where where Karin is, imagine Akuma was there, and imagine Karin was underneath her health bar, like at that range. If Akuma hits Karin, he can't convert into anything unless he has V trigger, right? That can side switch. So it's not bad for him to get hit at that range. Whereas if he got hit up close, he can convert a counter hit into stand medium kick, into V skill kick, side switch Tatsu, and then put him in the corner, right? Ooh, that's a block. That's a block, good sir. All right, so I wonder what he hit there. I wish I could like stop it frame by frame. What did he try to do there? Was that a? I don't know. I don't know what the startup of that move was. I think he was trying to stop forward movement. Fake safe jumps. He just made that up. Never practiced that. And Punk set confirms her. Bon appetit, man. That second fireball whiffed. Nope. Went far too fast. Alright. But isn't it interesting though, when we watch this, we don't see them doing much of anything outside of the 3 options that they keep recycling. It's literally rock, paper, scissors. They're not saying, oh, let me command dash this one time, let me demon flip at the start of the match. Like, it's been the same approach. It's just different timings. Like, that's literally it. Or not even different times. The timings are the same. The rhythm's the same. It's just like when they're doing it. Maybe they'll do this for 2 matches in a row or 2 rounds in a row. You know, like that's really, all the variety is really coming in when they're doing it. That was good presence of mind from Punk. He knows that he's down on life, and Tokido is comfortable with just throwing back-to-back fireballs. He can use that against him. Ooh, dead. All right, what does he do? Fireball? No, okay. What becomes really interesting is when you combine all of these elements with like, who won the first round, you know, because that makes a big difference too because of risk reward. So like, Tokido not throwing a fireball right there at the start of round 2 of this match, it can make sense because he's up. He doesn't necessarily have to do much. You know, the pressure is really on Punk to make that comeback. Because if they were to have a draw game, Tokido would be the one that would win the match. All right, so let's go back a little bit. Nice. See what I was talking about? When Punk gets that V trigger, that's like, especially at the end of block stun, that's his go-to choice because all he needs is for you to block it for him to get started. That's all he cares about. He gets like tunnel vision, you know, and then he exercises that tunnel vision and it's explosiveness from that point on. So Tokido just negates the situation entirely by doing that. Oscar nominated. Don't you ever forget it, Theo. All right, so this is the last match, right? All right. So I'm taking bets. What do you think Tokido's gonna do at the start of the round? What do you guys think? I want to see what you guys think. Based off of what we've learned, what do you think Tokido's gonna do at the start of this round right now? I got the chat up. I got the chat on the screen so you guys can see it when you guys watch the replays. I want to see who's gonna be right and who's gonna be wrong. Don't be afraid to be wrong. That's how you're gonna learn. What do you think Tokido's gonna do at the start of the round? The last round, he didn't throw a fireball. He didn't throw a fireball. Okay, so Ronin says wiggle. Turtle says walk forward. Kuro says he's gonna laugh out loud. All right, so he's gonna taunt. All right, cool. Ostep says whiff a button. Theo says fireball shimmy. Genesis says demon flip. Lambda says jump. All right, ready? Okay, so let's see. Let's see who's right. Theo wins. Fireball shimmy. I'm pretty sure if Theo meant shimmy then fireball, but he has half of a brain, so it's okay. We're gonna forgive him for that. But yeah. Oh, good side switch. That was really tricky. Oh my goodness, the damage. The damage. DP? Oh, he didn't DP! Ooh, okay. Oh yeah, Ronan, you were right. You're right. I give you that. You said wiggle first. All right, so no fireball because now Punk is up, so he doesn't want to risk it. Maybe he's feeling the heat. It's the last set. Oh man. Oh, that was so cheap. Ooh. Oh, he could have did EX Tatsu for the stun. No, why didn't do EX Tatsu for the stun? He would have got the stun and then corner carry. It wouldn't have killed, but he would have got the corner carry. Oh god. Is he gonna regret that? Oh, he could have supered that on block. Okay. Oh. Alright. Okay, Tokido. Okay, that was good. That was good. That was good. Especially because that crouch fierce. I don't think Punk was thinking about throwing after that. That crush counter crouch fierce. He's like, nah, I don't want any parts of that. Ooh, this is what we talked about. Oh my god. He did it. He did it. Oh my god. He did back-to-back fireballs. And he started the round off with a fireball. That crouching light kick is like -1. But nobody knows that. It's pretty funny. So he could have just mass jab. Oh, he's dead. Ooh, happy Punk. Look at that gap. Look at that. Ooh, okay, Punk. Word. All right, cool. That was a really good set. So I hope you guys enjoyed that.